Hi, my name's Sarah, and this is my sister Katie.
And we just want to remind everybody that
Girls like rock too.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, also referred to as RHCP to shorten the name, is a band that has yet to be mentioned on the Girls Like Rock 2 podcast, which is surprising considering we're over 10 episodes in and they're one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, no, that you make a good point. We've never mentioned RHCP yet, and you're a big fan.
I think the one time I mentioned the Chili Peppers is when I talked about Jack Irons, who was a drummer for Pearl Jam for a bit, and he was one of the original drummers for Chili Peppers.
That's right.
That's all I've mentioned of them. Yeah. I've focused a lot, if you've been following along with our podcast series, I've focused a lot on the 90s American alternative rock scene. And the Chili Peppers had a huge mark on this scene. So here's some stats to prove my point of just how big of a mark the Chili Peppers have had on the alternative rock scene. They've sold over 120 million records worldwide, making them one of the top selling bands of all time. They hold the record for most number one singles on the American Alternative Song charts with 15 singles. Wow. They also hold the record for most cumulative weeks at number one with 91 weeks, and the most top 10 songs on the Billboard Alternative Songs chart with 28 songs. And possibly, Sarah, the most important stat of all, our mother knows who they are and knows one of their songs, Give It Away, which shows just how much of a household name the Chili Peppers have become, because you wouldn't believe how many times we've brought up a band or an artist to our mother, and her response is, never heard of them.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom, for listening.
Thanks, Mom. However, also keep in mind, she's the same person who asked who is singing This Man Has a Terrible Singing Voice when Breaking the Girl was playing on the radio. Oh. So Mom may know who they are, but she might not be a big fan.
Fair enough.
I've focused a lot so far in our podcast series on grunge. I've talked a lot about Pearl Jam. I've focused a lot on pop punk. I've talked about Green Day and Blink-182. But what I love about the Chili Peppers is they don't really fall into a particular stream of alternative rock.
Yeah.
They're not grunge.
No.
They're not punk. They're not metal. Some people kind of call them funk, which they definitely have funk elements. But to me, the Chili Peppers, in my opinion, they're just a category of their own. There's no other band like the Chili Peppers.
That's true.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
And that's just one of the reasons that I love the Chili Peppers. I've often talked a lot also on this podcast series about music and nostalgia and how music just has the ability to bring you back in time. And for me personally, that's a huge reason that I love music. I just find it comforting and therapeutic for that reason. And Chili Peppers is one of those bands that just brings me back. They bring me back to particular times in my life, both good and bad, and no matter what, they've helped me get through it with their music. They've been around forever, the band.
I like how you say that so seriously.
Maybe not literally forever, but quite before my time. They formed in 1982.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. They released 4 albums in the 80s. And then in 1991, they came out with their iconic album, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, produced by the legendary Rick Rubin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No?
No.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. Oh, you're going to find out more about Rick Rubin. This album it features arguably one of their best known songs, Under the Bridge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic also features Give It Away,
Okay,
Breaking the Girl, and Suck My Kiss, all fairly well-known songs from the band. I don't remember when this album first came out. I was 4 years old. Not really. Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, not really appropriate for a 4-year-old. And my brother, I don't think to this day he likes the Chili Peppers.
No.
So Sarah and I weren't really exposed to the Chili Peppers much growing up.
No.
I bought the album like years later. And enjoyed it. I thought I would talk about my personal journey with the Chili Peppers. So in terms of my personal journey, I don't remember when Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic first came out. What I do remember clearly is 1999 when the Chili Peppers released Californication.
That was huge.
That was huge.
Yeah.
That was a huge album. Californication marked the return of John Frusciante. He was their guitarist for many years, and he's been in and out of the band. So before we talk about that, the return of John and the influence of Californication, let's just take it back a few steps, because in this episode, I'm going on my personal journey. And for me, the first Chili Peppers album I bought and listened to was randomly One Hot Minute.
Okay.
So in between Blood Sugar Sex Magic 1991 and Californication 1999, the Chili Peppers came out with One Hot Minute. And anyone who knows the Chili Peppers knows this album was kind of a one hot mess.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't very well received by critics. Fans did not take to it. And I just bought it randomly on a whim in 2001 at a used record show.
Nice.
I actually bought One Hot Minute at the same time I bought Pearl Jam 10. So
cool.
this was a huge time for me.
Yeah.
Growing into music and really figuring out my musical tastes.
Yeah, totally. And how old were you, Katie, when you bought this?
I just started high school. I was 14.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you came with me to that record show. I don't know what you bought.
We went to a few, and I'm sure I bought something.
I'm sure you bought some Suede or something.
Yeah, probably.
I bought it on a whim. I knew who they were. I thought, they seem cool. I'm gonna give this album a shot. I loved it personally. I loved the opening track of Warped. I thought it was different. I liked My Friends. I thought that song was comforting. I liked Aeroplane. That song's catchy.
Oh, that one I know.
Yeah. So what's interesting about One Hot Minute is John Frusciante. He was in the band for Mother's Milk, their album before Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Okay.
He was in the band for Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and he really jived with the band. He was a great guitarist for the band. He really added to it, added his kind of funk guitar element. He's a talented guitarist.
He is, yeah.
He was in the band. He left the band in 1992.
Okay.
He couldn't really handle the fame of Blood Sugar Sex Magic, so he just decided to step away from the band. So it's, 1992, they released Blood Sugar Sex Magic. They're on a high. Red Hot Chili Peppers were played a lot on MTV.
Yeah.
And they needed a guitarist. So they hired Dave Navarro.
Okay.
Dave Navarro. Do you know Dave Navarro?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've always had a soft spot for Dave Navarro.
Yeah.
Dave Navarro was a guitarist for another 90s band, an 80s band that I loved, Jane's Addiction.
Yes, that's right.
Yep. He, in the early 2000s, I don't know if you remember, he married Carmen Electra.
Oh, yes, I do
They had a
remember
reality
that.
TV show together.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Called Till Death Do Us Part. I've just always liked him. I think he's got a cool personality.
Yeah.
He's got his own vibe. He's a good guitarist. But is he a good guitarist for the Chili Peppers? A lot of people would probably say no.
No?
No. The One Hot Minute really did not do well. It, as I said, the fans just didn't really take to it. Critics didn't really like it. People were kind of like, where are they going with this album? It didn't have the nice put together sound, I guess, of Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Okay.
It was still produced by Rick Rubin. He still did One Hot Minute.
Okay.
So I think that's also why it's not a bad album. It's just different from the Chili Peppers. And I think people just weren't really that into it. And keep in mind too, 1995, there was a lot of other music out there that was really making big waves, right? So maybe people just were not as into the Chili Peppers at that point. But for me, I love Dave Navarro, so I liked the psychedelic vibe that he brought to the album with songs like Walkabout and Falling Into Grace. I thought he was cool with the band, but that was my first album, so I didn't really have other Chili Peppers albums to compare at the time. Now that I know their full discography, I've listened to them more. I do agree that John Frusciante definitely fits into the band better.
Okay. That's kind of cool, though. That was your first introduction, and you liked it.
Yeah.
Right? Not knowing much about the band.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just random. And when I bought it, I really didn't know it was so looked down upon in the Chili Peppers discography. It wasn't until later when I researched it and I thought, oh, wow, for my first Chili Peppers album, that's not really a usual album you'd go to. It'd be like an Oasis fan saying, oh, my first album was Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, type of thing.
Yeah, totally.
So what happened? What happened to Dave Navarro and the Chili Peppers?
Yeah, Katie, what
Because
happened?
John did come back. He was kicked out of the band.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was heavily using drugs at the time. Dave Navarro, though, I won't go too much into him because this episode isn't on Dave, but I don't know if you remember hearing the story, his mom and aunt were murdered by his mom's boyfriend at the time.
I remember you telling me that.
So he lived a crazy life.
Yeah.
He was heavily using drugs in the mid-90s, and so Flea and Anthony kicked him out. They said it was too much. Years later, in an interview in 2010, Dave claims that Anthony was using more drugs than he was at the time.
Okay.
Because Anthony, he's been a heavy drug user on and off, and he relapsed before, or around this time of One Hot Minute, he relapsed. So apparently he was pretty high on drugs too. So I think it just wasn't a good time for the band. Addiction, struggles with addiction. That's a huge theme with the Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Huge theme with their history. They're one of their original guitarists, Hillel Slovak, who was good friends with Anthony and Flea. He died of a heroin overdose.
Oh, wow.
In the late 80s.
Oh,
that had a real effect on Anthony, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's a real theme with the band, and you could hear it in their music and their lyrics. But Dave Navarro in the band, now that I know the band better, I must say he didn't really fit in with the band. I would suggest, if you want to understand my point, watch the video for Warped.
Okay.
And that video, you're just kind of like, what? And then, watch that video and then watch Give It Away, which was in 1991 with John. And that video, the band just syncs better. There's just a lot better synergy, brotherhood there than with Dave Navarro. I think he was an awkward member of the band.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a really great musician, but you also have to jive well with your band members, right? It's a real family.
Exactly. It's not that Dave Navarro is a bad guitarist. He just didn't really fit in with the vibe of the Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Because Jane's Addiction is a great band.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I don't think him and Perry Farrell are on the best of terms now. But no, when Jane's Addiction was at their height, he fit in with the band really well.
Yeah.
And Jane's Addiction came back in the 2000s. Even then, like, Dave really fit in well with the band.
Yeah.
Their song Superhero was the opening song for Entourage.
Oh, was it?
That was Jane's
Oh,
Addiction,
gosh, I can't remember that. Okay.
But so Dave was kicked out. Flea, the bassist of the Chili Peppers, after Dave was kicked out, he went back to John Frusciante and just was like, listen, can you please come back into the band? We miss you. Fortunately for them, John had just finished a stint in rehab, so he was like, I'm up for it. I'll join the band again.
Nice.
And the product of John Frusciante's return is 1999's Californication.
That's a good album.
My favorite Chili Peppers album.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's just a solid album. It signifies a rebirth of the band, I think.
It really does. Yeah.
They were, they reunited with John. I think they just had this positive energy. You could just tell they enjoyed being together in the videos and in the music. And I love every single song on Californication. I think All Around the World is a great opener.
Oh my gosh, that song's awesome.
You start with the awesome bass line of Flea, and then John Frusciante's classic Chili Peppers guitar comes in, and then you get Anthony and Chad coming at the same time, and Anthony just kind of like, not screaming, but kind of like just excited. And to me, All Around the World is just the Chili Peppers saying, we're back, world, and we're better than ever. This date, it's still their best-selling album of all time.
Yes, that did really well.
It did really well.
Yeah.
I remember people were just excited about it.
Yeah.
It was also the summer that it was Woodstock 99.
Right.
Now, unfortunately, that festival was a mess.
Yeah.
But the Chili Peppers set was good if you watch it.
Yeah.
They did well. And it was, again, just excitement. They were back together, playing together. So, I love All Around the World. I love the slower tracks like This Velvet Glove. As we've talked about sexy songs before, that's a very sexy song. Nice. Other Side is good. Californication is good. And then there's harder, rockier songs like Easily. And I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Summertime, but written backwards.
Okay.
That's about, apparently, Anthony Kiedis had a little fling with Sporty Spice. That's about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Listen to the lyrics. And you're like, that makes sense.
Oh, man. I didn't know that. I know this is cliche, but I thought Scar Tissue, that's a strong single.
Really, really strong single.
Yeah, and the video, like you said, just kind of the band coming back together.
And just hanging out, brotherhood.
Yeah.
Californication, again, produced by Rick Rubin. So at this point, they had a real relationship with that producer. And one of the things I remember really clearly about when Californication first came out, because I must admit, I'm talking about my personal journey with the Chili Peppers. I didn't buy the album when it first came out. I was 12, wasn't totally into rock music yet, but I do remember seeing Anthony Kiedis on Much Music, because Sarah and I finally had Much Music in 1999. So we saw all this airplay of the Chili Peppers. And I remember seeing Anthony Kiedis being interviewed and thinking, who is that? Being like, damn, this guy is sexy. Yeah,
I know. Anthony Kiedis.
He was always known for his long, dark hair. And then for Californication, he cut it all off, bleached it blonde. To this day, my favorite Anthony Kiedis look. And this sounds so cheesy, and it's kind of cringy because my parents listen to this podcast. But, that was the first time I was attracted to a celebrity not because you thought they were hot, not because my friend was like, oh, you gotta like him, not because Teen Beat or Tiger Beat or Bop Magazine was telling me they're a hottie. That was just the first time I liked a guy because I was like, I like you. And, it's a lot for a young girl.
It is.
Yeah.
It is your first, like, celebrity crush.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
just all you, that you decide, wow, I think you're hot. Now, unfortunately, I do feel like I need to bring it up because just when we talk about Anthony Kiedis and sex appeal, a lot of stories over the years have come out that haven't painted him in the best light when it comes to women.
Yeah. No, for sure.
He released his autobiography, Scar Tissue, in 2004.
Right.
He fully admitted in the book that he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old when he was 23, both before and after he found out her age. This story especially came up a lot during the Me Too movement again in 2017 because people, rightfully so, were like, that's not really cool of you.
No.
And also, it's not talked about as much, but he dated actress Ione Skye. I don't know if you know her from Say Anything, the John Cusack movie. He dated her. She was 16 and he was 24. So that was a pretty big age gap too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then she came out with an autobiography just this past year, and she brought up a lot about her relationship with Anthony. And again, some stories don't paint him in the best light. Now, she did say that after their relationship years later, he did write her a letter. He did a lot of apologizing. She said she took it as genuine and she accepted his apologies. So at least he did that.
Yeah.
But I do recommend reading Scar Tissue. I don't know if you've read it.
I have not. No.
It's a good autobiography.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Anthony Kiedis lived a wild life. And this autobiography, he shares all his stories of growing up. I mean, oh my goodness, he wasn't even 10, I don't think, when he had his first use of drugs. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, he lived a crazy life. But I recommend it. It's a good autobiography. It's well written. It's interesting. It talks a lot about the Chili Peppers. So definitely if you're a Chili Peppers fan, check it out. Flea also came out with an autobiography in 2019.
Oh, okay.
But I was reading up on that. I haven't read it yet. And I guess he doesn't actually talk about being in the Chili Peppers. He just talks about his life before the Chili Peppers. He didn't want to go into that. So if you're into it, you can check that out. But yeah, back on the subject of Californication, just a really good album.
Yeah, that's like the one Chili Peppers record that I do know a bit.
Yeah.
And it is very good.
Yeah, and people, as we said, people were just excited. Scar Tissue got a lot of airplay on Much Music.
Oh, that was always on. Yeah.
So after Californication, 3 years later, 2002, they came out with By the Way. This was when I started. So at this point, I was a Chili Peppers fan. I was 15, going into grade 10. So I started buying Chili Peppers albums in real time, so to speak, unlike I did with their other ones. I like By the Way. It didn't do as commercially as well as Californication. It still did well. It has a lot of hit singles. Can't Stop, By the Way, Dozed, Zephyr Song. I think those are fairly well-known songs. Do you know those ones?
Yeah, I know those ones. Definitely By the Way. That was big.
Yeah. I thought it was a good album. I didn't like it as much as Californication, but I do go back to it a lot. It's got Can't Stop, and By the Way, they're good just rock out high energy songs.
Yeah.
Can't Stop,
sure.
I think, has become a fan favorite.
Yeah. Oh, Can't Stop. That's on that album?
Yeah.
That's a big
that's
one.
become a real Chili Peppers gem. Throw Away Your Television. That's got a really awesome bass line from Flea. When I saw the Chili Peppers live in 2011, they played that song live. That was really cool to see. And it's got a lot of pretty songs. Dozed, I Could Die For You. They're just nice, pretty songs. Critics had mixed reviews about this album. Some just called it Californication Part 2, kind of insinuating, nothing new, nothing fresh, just the same thing. Others commented negatively on Anthony Kiedis' lyrics. They said he just uses random words to rhyme. Personally, I love the lyrics of Anthony Kiedis. I think they're different. I'll admit, half the time I don't know what he's talking about, but sometimes I do pick up on what he's talking about. And I just think, kind of what I said earlier in the episode, Anthony, you just can't compare his lyrics to anyone else's. They're just his own. They're different. And I like that. I like the individuality he has. Again, produced by Rick Rubin.
Okay.
So that relationship continued. And it did commercially, it did do well. After By the Way, we had to wait, Chili Peppers fans, we had to wait 4 years for another album.
Oh, wow, 4 years. Okay.
But in 2006, it was worth the wait because we got a double album.
Ooh.
Stadium Arcadium.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. Stadium Arcadium holds a very, very special place in my heart. And I thought for this episode, because I'm going on my personal journey with the Chili Peppers, I'm going to get a bit personal myself.
Okay.
And in 2005, I graduated high school and I decided to go to university in downtown Toronto at Ryerson University. Now it's Toronto Metropolitan University.
Right.
And I hated it. Like, I just hated it. I remember before I left packing up, just having this gut feeling that, like, this is just going to go wrong and I'm just not going to like it. And my gut was totally right. I hated it. I didn't feel like I fit in with anybody. I did not like living downtown. I thought because Sarah lived downtown Toronto, I was like, oh, I'm going to love it. Like, it's so much fun when I visit Sarah. Different visiting from living there. And I just didn't like it at all. Didn't fit in with anyone in residence. I made some very bad decisions. I would kind of just party for the sake of partying, and I wasn't even enjoying myself at the end of the day. I didn't really get along with these people. And I remember it was probably one of the hardest parts of my life. I was just miserable. I was just not happy. That's one point in my life I can honestly say I was not happy. And many times I came home and thought, I'm just not going to go back. I missed my family. I missed my friends from high school. I just did not want to go back. But I remember my brother telling me to suck it up and just keep going, which I did. And I decided to go and transfer to another school. So I didn't just throw away that year because it was a lot of money and a lot of time to just throw away those credits. So I decided to transfer to University of Western Ontario, which is like 45 minutes from my house, way closer to my home. A lot of my high school friends went there. I love living in London, Ontario. So shout out to London, Ontario. I love the city. And I just remember that summer. So you're probably asking, what does this have to do with Stadium Arcadium? But the summer between going to Ryerson and then transferring to Western, Chili Peppers came out with Stadium Arcadium. And that was just such a good album for me. It was kind of like a rebirth of mine. And that album was the soundtrack to it. So that summer was just full of excitement for me because I knew I didn't have to go back to Toronto. I knew I was going to a school in London, closer to home. I spent like almost every single day that summer with my best friend Allison, who's also a huge Chili Peppers fan. So we basically had Stadium Arcadium on repeat. We always listened to that. And that summer we hung out a lot with our friend Jess. And that was just, I went from 8 months of being miserable downtown, not really feeling like myself. And this summer, I just felt like myself. And the Chili Peppers Stadium Arcadium also had part to do with that. So, which is why that album just has such a special place in my heart. And it's a good album. It's a good range. It's got, because it's a double album, a ton of different vibes. You got Danny California. I'm sorry, Tom Petty. I know you say that it's a ripoff of Mary Jane's Last Dance. Oh. I still love the song Danny California. It's got my favorite Chili Pepper song, or one of them, Turn It Again. Especially in Michigan. That was Allison, my best friend's favorite song. So I always think of that with her. It's got a lot of slower, prettier songs like Wet Sand and Desecration Smile. Those are really good as well. Slow Cheetah, that's another good one. So I could just spend an episode listening off the songs of Stadium Arcadium and how I love them. But it's a good album. Even my personal situation aside, just an album itself, like for you to listen to, it's a really good album, really well done. And they just, again, the Chili Peppers seem to vibe really well. They seem to get along well. Alice and I saw them live for the Stadium Arcadium tour in the fall of 2006, and it was a really good show. Yeah. The energy of the band was just insane. It was really good.
Yeah, I've heard that they're really good live.
They are good live. And it's just interesting because I also saw them in 2011. At that point, John wasn't in the band anymore.
Okay.
And I remember liking that show. Again, I went with Allison. Again, it was an enjoyable time. But I remember thinking they just didn't have that same energy they had with John on stage as they did during Stadium Arcadium. So John he left the band after the release of Stadium Arcadium, after their big tour for it. He left the band.
Oh, okay.
From doing my research, I don't know exactly why. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say it was drug use again. I don't know if that was it. I don't know if he was just tired of the band. I'm not sure. But unfortunately, a hole was left in the band again because John had left. And they eventually hired Josh Klinghoffer. He was a touring guitarist for them, so they asked him to join the band.
Okay.
And again, like, not a bad guitarist. They came out with, in 2011, I'm With You. I bought the album off iTunes. It's a decent album, but it just doesn't, to me, have the same vibe of their other stuff with John Frusciante. Critics noted, too. Critics said there was definitely a hole in the band from John being gone. And Josh and Rick Rubin, apparently they didn't really see eye to eye during the recording of that album. So for their next album, The Getaway, Rick Rubin, that was the first time since before Blood Sugar Sex Magic that Rick didn't produce it.
Wow, that would be a big, a new direction for the band.
Oh, for sure.
Wow.
And Chad Smith, the drummer from the Chili Peppers, he claims they just wanted a change, which is why they didn't hire Rick. But from Josh Klinghoffer talking, it kind of seems like it was more his personal relationship with Rick. They just didn't see eye to eye.
Okay.
I'll be fully transparent. I know I'm raving that I'm a big Chili Peppers fan. I haven't listened a lot to The Getaway. So The Getaway, it features some singles that did fairly well: Dark Necessities, Go Robot, Sick Love, and Goodbye Angels. This makes me sound naive because I assumed, I haven't listened to it, so it must have not done well. It actually did do pretty well commercially, and it debuted #1 in several countries. And the reviews from critics were pretty good. And as a true Chili Peppers fan, I really do need to give it a listen to. I'm sure I would enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a huge John Frusciante fan, so I never really got into it.
Sense. Yeah.
However, in 2002, they came out with Unlimited Love, and this marked the return of John Frusciante.
Ooh.
And of Rick Rubin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So story has it that when Rick came back with the band and he watched John, Chad, Flea, and Anthony jam together, he cried. He was so touched by it. Wow. Which really shows you like the emotional connection that they had with the producer and that the brotherhood that the Chili Peppers had together. Unlimited Love has Black Summer. I don't know if you listen to that one.
I think that one I know.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
It's really good. And so I didn't even know this, but apparently before Unlimited Love, Flea had got the idea into John's head to join the band again. And John wasn't even making rock music. He was electronic music at the time.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like touring around doing electronica, which I thought was interesting because I always just thought John was a real rock and roll guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, interesting. But yeah, he did join the band. They came out with Unlimited Love. Even later in 2002, the same year, they came out with Return of the Dream Canteen. So they came out with another album.
Oh, wow.
Because they just said they had so much material from the recording sessions. They're like, let's give the fans another album.
Okay, cool.
Return of the Dream Canteen has Tip of My Tongue. I don't know if you know that song.
Maybe if I heard it.
Oh, that's such a good Chili Peppers song. It's just back to their like funk roots.
Okay.
And what I really love too about that song is Anthony in his lyrics mentions Funky Monks, which was a song on Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Oh,
so
wow.
he's kind of referring, back to the earlier history of the band and how they're still together. I think that's pretty cool. Kind of like their other the Getaway. I do need to give both those albums a better listen to. I don't know, over the years I haven't listened to their later stuff as much. I find, and maybe a lot of older people, not older people, but people who've listened to these bands a long time can relate. You kind of stick to the older stuff that you know.
Oh, of course.
You go back to your go-tos. And especially now that you don't just buy an album and listen to the album, you stream off YouTube Music, you stream off Spotify. You don't necessarily explore as much into the newer stuff. You kind of always go back to your older stuff. That's me personally. So I can list you all the songs on Californication and Stadium Arcadium, but unfortunately their later ones I do have to dive deeper into. But that kind of ends my personal journey of the Chili Peppers. I'll end it on the note that I need to explore their later music more. I know my friend Allison, as I mentioned, my best friend who also loved the Chili Peppers, she saw them during the Unlimited Love tour.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I couldn't make the show, but she said it was really good. And she said the energy of the band is still there. So I was glad to hear that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I love the Chili Peppers. Obviously, I love their music. That has a big reason to do with it. But I just love the stories of their personal lives, how they've overcome addiction, all of them. And how John Frusciante he's been in the band. They've been strong. He's left, but he's still come back. That says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
that says
definitely.
a lot about the connection that the band has. And we have all had that friend or that family member that we've really lost touch with, but then you get back in your life and the connection is still there. So I just think that's a really cool story of how John's been in and out of the band.
Well, and kind of when you've been talking, you feel that in the music.
Oh, you so feel it in the music.
Yeah.
I listened to them a lot again to prepare for this episode, and I just forgot just the sense of connection you feel with the band. And as I mentioned, like all around the world, you listen to that and you're like, I can just feel them in the studio back together and just being like, let's do this. This is like, we're alive now. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. And on a personal note too, I feel like the connection and friendship of the band, because Anthony and Flea, they've been friends since they were like, oh my gosh, I think before they were 14. So they've been through a lot together. And for me, it's kind of parallel with my friendship with my best friend Allison. And as I mentioned, we both love the Chili Peppers. So I just feel like it's parallel with that. So yeah, they're just a very personal band for me. And honestly, anyone out there who's listening to this, if you have a band, whether it's Chili Peppers or another band, I it's very therapeutic to sit down and think like, why is this one of my favorite bands? Can I think of times through my life that this band really just got me through? Do it. It's really therapeutic. I had a really good time just kind of personally thinking about my reflections with the Chili Peppers and their music. It's totally cheesy as that sounds.
No, I actually love how you said that, like therapeutic, when you think of a band that you really loved. Yeah. And that's a big part of this podcast, nostalgia and just music, connecting people, which I know sounds cheesy, but as you mentioned with your good friend, and connecting people and getting you through hard times. Yeah. And that's a really big
getting you through hard times and guiding you through the fun times. Yeah. Because as I mentioned, Stadium Arcadium, I think of not only, Ryerson, that was a horrible experience, but that summer was just so much fun.
Yeah, no, music can take you back to a really great time too. And that feeling you had at that time, the energy comes back when you listen to a particular song or a particular band or album. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And I loved reading that story about how Rick Rubin, literally had tears to his eyes watching them play again. Cause it just shows the power of music. The power of music. It's more than just catchy tunes, it really is.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And if you've made it this far through this episode, you probably get that too, right?
And maybe it is the Chili Peppers for you. Maybe you're like, oh damn, I do remember Stadium Arcadium. That was an awesome summer. I hope that's what you think. So I really want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode, and I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you enjoyed it and got something out of it, because I did preparing for it for sure.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Actually, this is going to sound cheesy, but I've been listening to a lot of music podcasts lately, and I love hearing people's personal journeys with the band.
Me too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So as Katie said, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate your time. Katie and I post a new episode every other Friday. The podcast is available on YouTube and Spotify.
And we just want to remind everybody that
girls like rock too.
And don't forget to hit subscribe.